You ever wonder where great stories really come from? Not just the ideas, but the very structure, the poetry itself. Well, today, we're diving into the incredible story behind one of the world's most ancient and revered epics, the Ramayana. And its beginning is not some grand, calculated plan. Nope, it starts with a single moment of pure, raw, heartbreaking sorrow.
So get this. These words right here, they're not just a quote. They are the very first verse of the Ramayana. But they're not about gods or kings or epic battles. They're a curse. A curse cried out by a sage named Valmiki in a moment of absolute anguish. And somehow, miraculously, this spontaneous outburst would become the birth of a timeless epic. Let's dig in to how that happened.
All right, so our story begins with this one person, the sage Valmiki, and this one unexpected moment that just completely shatters the peace of his day.
Now, Valmiki wasn't just some guy meditating in the forest. The texts describe him as someone who was totally purified by his spiritual practices. He was deeply in tune with the world around him, disciplined, calm, and just living this life of quiet contemplation.
So picture this. Valmiki's walking by a stream, and he sees this pair of Krancha birds, and they're just completely lost in their own little world, totally in love. And then, in a flash, a hunter's arrow just zips through the air and strikes the male, killing him instantly. And Valmiki has to stand there and watch as the female bird just cries out in this heart-wrenching lament for her partner.
Seeing this completely senseless act of cruelty, Valmiki is just overwhelmed. The empathy, the sorrow, it just washes over him. And from that deep, deep well of grief, the words we heard earlier just pour out of him. But what's so wild is that they aren't just angry words. They're perfectly structured. They're in this four-part rhythmic meter, a type of poetry he had never, ever used or even known before. He's as stunned as anyone.
So as Valmiki is standing there, trying to process this bizarre, poetic curse that just came out of his own mouth, his astonishment is about to get dialed up to a level he could never have imagined. Suddenly, right there in front of him is Lord Brahma. And we're not talking about some minor deity here. This is the creator of the world, the lord of the world, the four-faced, shining, effulgent, cosmic architect himself, just showing up in the middle of the woods.
And Valmiki, well, the text says he's greatly amazed, which has to be the understatement of the millennium. What do? He immediately stands up, folds his hands in worship, and goes through all the proper rites of respect, offering a seat, water, just bowing in pure reverent awe. And this is where it all clicks into place. This is where we see the real purpose behind everything that's just happened. It's this incredible, miraculous transformation of a raw feeling into timeless art. Think about this for a second. Even with the literal creator of the entire universe sitting right there, Valmiki can't get his mind off that poor bird, the hunter's cruel act, the female's grief. His empathy is so powerful, he just can't shake that feeling of sorrow. And Lord Brahma sees this, and he smiles. And he explains everything with this just brilliant play on words. He tells Valmiki that his Shoka, his profound sorrow and grief, was just divinely transformed into a Shloka, a verse, a brand new form of poetry. His pain wasn't just pain, it was the seed of something beautiful.
Brahma himself confirms it for the astonished sage. He says, "Yep, what you just said wasn't just a curse you blurted out in anger. It was a true poetic composition. The divine has literally just validated his art."
But okay, why did Brahma even show up? It wasn't just to explain a new kind of poetry. No, he was there to give Valmiki a mission that was going to change the world forever.
Brahma makes it crystal clear this was no accident. He says, "At my will, this speech had originated from you. Basically, I did this." Valmiki was chosen. He was given this divine gift of poetry for a very, very specific and monumental reason.
And here's the mission. Brahma tells him to write the entire story of the virtuous Lord Rama. He's supposed to build on a summary he'd already heard from another great sage, Narada. But, and this is key, Brahma promises that everything about Rama's life, even the secret parts, the unknown parts, all of it will be revealed to him as he writes.
And this is absolutely huge. Brahma gives his work a divine guarantee of truth. This isn't going to be a work of fiction. He says not a single word you write will ever be untrue. It's going to be a completely unassailable, true record of what happened.
And then comes the promise of immortality. Brahma declares that as long as the mountains stand and the rivers flow on this planet, this story, the Ramayana, will survive. It will be told among the people. It's literally destined for eternity.
So the mission is set, the promises have been made, and now the stage is ready for the creation of one of humanity's greatest literary treasures. And just as suddenly as he appeared, poof, Lord Brahma vanishes. He's gone, leaving Valmiki and his disciples just standing there, their minds completely blown, trying to process what on earth they just witnessed. The divine encounter is over, but its impact is really just beginning.
And in that moment of utter astonishment, a new kind of clarity hits Valmiki. He gets it. He accepts his destiny, and he makes the conscious choice right then and there. I will do it. I will compose the epic of Ramayana, and I'll do it entirely in this new meter, this Shloka, the verse that was literally born from my sorrow. And what he created became the very first kavya, the first true epic poem. The source itself describes it just perfectly, a work made of hundreds of charming verses, full of meaningful words, all set to a perfect rhythm, designed to bring glory to its hero. This is the template, he said, and it all came from a single moment of compassion.
And that kind of leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought, doesn't it? The Ramayana, an epic that has guided millions of people for thousands of years, was born from a moment of intense personal grief for someone else's suffering. It really makes you wonder, what kind of profound art, what timeless story might be waiting to be born from the feelings that we ourselves experience most deeply?